that this story, it was so beautiful because I keep seeing herons lately, these blue herons. Every time I go for a run or walk, they seem to show up. And then I was listening to my favorite poet, Mark Nepo, and he told this story about a friend of his who was training for a race, this really big race on his bicycle, like many, many miles, this big deal. And he'd been training for it for like a year. And the day of the race comes, and the guy is ahead. He's like ahead of the pack, beyond. There's no question that all this training has paid off and he's going to win. And then just before he gets to the finish line, a blue heron steps out right next to him. And the blue heron leaps up and opens. I mean, they're massive. Their wingspan is so huge. And he said that his friend stopped and just stopped riding his bike, and he sort of like got off and straddled his bike and put his arms on the handlebars and sat there and watched this heron transfixed, could not, his eyes could not look away. And within a minute, all the other bikers came and passed him. And years later, Mark asked him about that. He said, "You know what? How?" He said, "What? You lost that race. Why did you lose that race?" And he said, "No, I left the race." And I thought that was so beautiful. And then Mark said about it, I took a note here because I wanted to quote him directly. He said, "I see that I have to give myself wholeheartedly to what I can see now and be open to what it may reveal that may change everything en route." And I mean, it's all uncertain, isn't it? It's never certain, especially these times. And he was saying that if he hadn't trained and put his whole heart into that race, he wouldn't have had that like moment of having his heart cracked open. Turns out it was about the heron. It was never about the race. He was training to meet the heron. But if he didn't train for the race wholeheartedly, he wouldn't have wholeheartedly met the heron. So just a little thought to drop into your whole hearts today as you maybe sit up a little taller, and we can just sort of breathe into everything that we're thinking, feeling, experiencing, and try to just imagine yourself lake like, mountain, clear mountain lake like, getting a little bit wider, a little bit softer, that whatever the uncertainties are, whatever the frustrations or anxieties or any of those things that cause the little pebbles in our heart, that there's room for them. And when we get still, we find there's also room for so much more than just that. And there's room, hopefully, for the uncertainty. It's all uncertain. If you want to join me, we can chant Om, taking a deep inhale. A hand or two on the heart, just to let it soften back into your chest, especially if it's been feeling a lot lately. And Saturday, we talked about how there's actually little brains, little bundles of nerves in your heart, and they feel anxiety too sometimes. And when you just put your hands on your heart, it instantly soothes all those little nerve bundles. And then you can start on your hands and knees today. Bring yourself onto all fours. And as you come onto all fours, take some cat cows, just, the usual kind of good morning, wake up, introduce yourself to the practice thing, move your spine around, move your shoulders around with it some amount, move your hips around to be like a little wiggly snake. And then I'm going to add on a little bit here. So what you're going to do is from all fours, shift back towards a child's pose. Let one hand just slide back as you do that. It slides back and reaches behind you. And then as you come back to all fours, it makes a big circle up and around. And we'll do that a few times. And you can start to give your own flavor to it. You can start to move in other ways. If you want to do less than just this one simple thing, you can move hips and head. You can let it come from the shoulder joint, but you can also play with bending the elbow, maybe moving from the elbow or moving from the wrist, putting some care and attention into what the wrist is doing, noticing how smart this body is. The way you don't have to ask that shoulder to rotate, you don't have to ask the arm to turn in or turn out. It just does it, doesn't it? What a gift to be in such a brilliant, brilliant, magical body. And then the next time that your arm, whichever one it is, comes straight up in the air, just leave it there. And then dive it underneath the other arm and we'll thread the needle and you can just rest there. And, I think we sort of do this on Fridays. We get a little weird and wiggly. And so what I invite you to do is just in every shape to meet it with yourself, to let it fit you just how it needs to fit you today, to have it be less manipulative and more organic if possible, just a little bit. And then you can keep that arm underneath you as you slide your hips back to your heels. And as you come up, take your hands to opposite shoulders. So crisscrossed arms, just like you're giving yourself a big hug, like you're pretending to make out with somebody in elementary school. And then with that big hug, take a giant upper body circle. How are your ribs today and the muscles between the ribs? How's your neck? When you reach the end, go the other way. So one circle, sort of languid and soft, good for a rainy day kind of circle. When you reach the top of that circle, start to pick your elbows up like you're taking your top off. Slowly lift the elbows and reach the arms up, but just cross the wrists this time. So as they unfurl, they just come to where the wrists are crossed. And then interlace your hands above your head. So you have the wrist crossed and the fingers interlaced as you reach your arms up. Bring the arms down straight in front of your heart. Press the knuckles forward. Hollow out the belly and round your back. Drop your head. And then as you come back to a neutral spine, start to turn that whole fist, point it down in the direction of the floor. And see if you can even keep that fist as you invert it. So start to bring the knuckles towards your heart. Any amount, just do your best with this one. I know it's not easy. And you might even be able to reach that inverted fist all the way out. And maybe even let it rock a little bit from side to side. That part's a little extra challenging, but you could give it a shot. Happy wrists, happy fingers, happy blood flow through the arms and hands. Release, just shake out your hands, shake them up and down, shake them side to side, shake them round and round, just shake them out. And then come to all fours. And as you come to all fours, this time we're going to focus on the hips. It's going to be the right hip first. So take your right leg, I'll show you this way. And you're just going to keep the knee bent, but just reach it straight up and back behind you. And then open that knee out to the right side. And then let the knee come underneath you, but not touch the floor. So we're going to make a circle like that. But as you keep doing that, kind of feeling each movement, the up and back, the out and open, and then the under. And you can start to make it more circular, more sort of connected. Can you keep that left hip really hugging in? Try not to swing your pelvis over to the side as you do this. Do it one more time in that direction, and then when the knee comes underneath, go the other way. So take it out to the side and up, take it back, feel it roll in, and then bring it underneath you. Do that a couple of times. How's that left hip? Hug it in. Just try not to sink in the collarbone. See if you can keep broad across the back of the heart. The next time the knee comes out to the side, keep it there. So knees out to the side. Maybe you stay, or maybe you pick up your left arm and you reach that one out to the side. Maybe you even straighten that right leg. It's only for a breath, I promise. And then one thing at a time comes back. Bend the right knee. Put the left hand back. Put the right knee back down. Child's pose. Have just a big descending, turning the volume down on everything moment here. Skin soft. muscles quiet. And then you could come on back up to all fours. See if I can remember all that. Start it all from the beginning again. So you're on hands and knees. Do a little wiggle spine, little snaky belly. Move the head, shoulders, hips, spine. Whatever's saying, I need some movement today. Free me. Any tissues that feel like they've been like caged. We do this thing, it's sort of beautiful. We try to take care of ourselves when things are uncertain, when we're anxious, by clamping down, because it's a way to hold on to ourselves. It's a form of self-care, actually. But right now, you don't need to do that. Maybe later you could do it again. And then come on to all fours. You're going to take this time, it's going to be the other arm. So whichever one you did the swinging with last time, do the other one. So just slide it back. We're going to child's pose, arm reaches back, and then it comes in a big circle up and around. And you just keep on going like that, back and around. It's sort of sweet. It's like you're petting your yoga mat or the floor. You're feeling textures, just noticing everything. You can start to play more with it, adding your own personality, your own needs, moving elbow, paying attention to fingers, to wrist, to head, to shoulders, nothing left out. And then the next time that the arm comes straight up, keep it up, slide it under, thread the needle, scoop it through, drop your head, rest your body here for a couple of breaths. How are your toes? Can you relax your feet a little bit? And then as you come out, you're going to keep that arm crossed over. Both arms crisscross, wrap yourself up in a hug. Let your spine grow a little taller and take a big circle in each direction. Go slow, a little slower than you're inclined to go against the grain just a bit. Don't hurry at all, but as you do reach the end of that second circle, you do the imaginary striptease here. Take your top off, elbows up until just the wrists are crossed and all the fingers try to interlace. Take the arms straight in front of you, reaching forward, hollow the belly, drop the head, round it back. And then straight, tall spine, look forward, point the knuckles down. Try to point them in, just see what happens. Curious instead of forcing, maybe even inverting them and reaching them forward and doing maybe even a little teeny rock from side to side. Noticing if when things get hard, if other parts of the body want to jump in and eye twitches or mouth gets weird or toes curl up. Right, trying to say to the other parts, you're out, you're good, you can soften. And then go ahead and let the arms release, shake out the hands again, shake them up and down. Little birdie trying to fly for the first time, shake them side to side. Any which way. And then as you crawl your way back out to all fours, we'll work on the left side this time. So as you come to hands and knees, you're going to take the left leg straight back. Keep the knee bent. And then slowly open it out to the side and bring it underneath you. Just hover it and do that a few times. At first, it's sort of mechanical. Maybe you're just feeling each movement on its own. And then you can start to make it a little bit smoother. Right hip now, right hip's got to come in. Bring it towards the midline. Keep space all around the heart, front and back. The next time the leg comes underneath you, change directions, bring it out to the left. Slowly bring it back, feel it roll in, and bring it underneath to hover. Do that 2 more times. Right hip in. When you land that next time with the knee out to the side, you keep it there. That could be plenty. Or you add the right arm reaching away. Or you add the legs stretching out. Oh, you might scream, cry, oh, have a little opera moment. Bend the knee again, put the hand down, put the knee down. Child's pose. And then come on up to all fours. As you come on up to all fours, you can tuck your toes under and start to walk your way back to a standing forward fold at the back of your space. Shake your head out a little bit. Maybe let out a big breath if you need one or two or 100 of those is really helpful. This is scientifically proven stuff that just breathing in and breathing out and going has a profoundly dramatic effect on your nervous system. And then knees nice and soft. Start to roll yourself all the way up to stand. As you come up to stand, we're going to bring my friend back here. Some of you might remember this. So we're going to emulate the falling unicorn, okay? And you're going to just crumple up to one side, and I'll show you. So we're going to go to the right side first. You have your feet sort of comfortably apart, arms just hanging. They're going to hang the whole time. Breathe in, and when you're ready to breathe out, just crumple to the right. Just like you just fell apart in all the joints. Let your head hang. And then slowly stack your bones and come upright again. Take a big, big inhale. When you're ready to exhale, you fall apart to the left. And then come on, stack yourself back up. Take your hands and release them behind your back. Send your knuckles charging back, your heart lifting up, and then bending knees, bending knees. Just keep bending your knees until you start to feel the warmth of the belly near the thighs, and then you can pour over your legs, lengthen them, wiggle your shoulders out a little bit. We're going to work on a lot of shoulder mobility today, just sort of mobility all around, cleaning out the joints. Like we're going to get in there like with an imaginary toothbrush and get all the sticky nonsense out of the hips and the shoulders. Let your hands drop. Walk your way out into a plank pose. That's it. And just take a breath there. And then from plank back to down dog. So lift your hips from the inner thighs, press back. We're going to take the right foot and step it forward between the hands. Right foot forward, back knee is going to touch down. Grab a blanket or something soft if you have any tenderness in that back knee. And then just introduce yourself to this one. You could shift forward and back a few times. You could also shift the hips a little bit, swing them kind of side to side. Make a little half moon, crescent moon curve with the pelvis. Whatever it takes to welcome yourself in. You know what? Actually, I want to show you. We're going to do a whole little sequence here. So just slide back and just sit on your heels. Bring the right leg back and just sit down for 1 second because I'm actually going to show you this whole thing. And it's tall, so I've got to set my camera up right. My girlfriend said to me this morning something along the lines of like, well, all you ever teach is lying down on the floor. So I was like, no, we're going to stand up today. I'm going to show her we can stand up sometimes. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start. It's going to start with this knee down lunge. You're going to reach up, hook the thumbs, spread the fingers, and then don't do it yet. I'll show you first. Then we're going to come to a high lunge, back heel down, hands behind. The pose that it's impossible to stay angry in. I dare you to try it, okay? Next time you get angry, take this and see what happens. The humble warrior. I'm going to show you from this way because we're coming right up from here into reverse triangle. So that's like reverse warrior with 2 straight legs. Reverse triangle, and then staying in this side bend. Gonna turn all the toes to face the long side of the mat, and then slowly melt down, all the way down to a wide-legged fold. When we get here, we're walking it out, wide-legged plank, elbow, elbow, palm, palm, elbow, elbow, palm, palm, back, Wide dog, walk it back. Phew. And then around to a little lizard situation. Okay, so I just wanted you to see that. So when I talk about it, you know what I mean. So starting back in that lunge again, your right leg is forward and your back knee is down, and you can hook your thumbs and lift your arms up over your head. That's it. Use that kind of hook and pulling apart of the thumbs to draw the whole body really brightly up and out of the pelvis, bright and wide. Tuck your back toes under, lift your knees slowly up off the floor. And then we'll prepare for that humble warrior. First, anchor the back heel down. You might even wiggle your right foot a little over to the side, clasp the hands behind your back, and then dive down any amount over the right thigh or inside the right thigh, bending that right knee maybe a little more generously than you might be inclined to. David White, the poet, always says, go beyond yourself, right? To just go a little beyond yourself. And then so from there, already picturing that triumphant reverse triangle, you can start to drop the arm, straighten the front leg. Let first the left arm bring you up, then the right arm all the way up, two straight legs, and you lean into a side bend. Make it a really true side bend here. So if you're back bending, turn more towards the side of your space, and then just turn those front toes towards the long side of your space. So now you're in a wide-legged stance. You're still side bending, keep side bending, and then eventually you're going to turn the nose down and melt your way into a forward fold here. So bring the hands underneath you and then walk them out until you're in a downward dog that's really wide. Big wide legs, hands walk out. You can press with the ribbing of your palms where the fingers meet the palms. Push into that place and press the hips back. Feel your inner thighs reach back. Feel your sitting bones widen to make room like there's a great big ocean between your sitting bones. And then shift forward to a plank, still with these wide legs. You might have to rearrange your hands. You're in plank, wide legs. Drop your right forearm. Drop your left forearm, and then replace the right palm and then the left palm. And then we'll go the other way. First the left forearm, and then the right. Then the left palm and the right palm. Downward dog with wide legs. Oh, walk your hands back so that you're in a wide-legged forward fold. Say a moment. We'll hang out in this one. You might hold your elbows or clasp hands around the base of your skull or hold on to your ankles. And then let your hands go wherever you're holding them. Bring them to the earth. Walk it around to the front again. Get your two paws inside the right foot this time so you can wiggle it over a little bit more. Put the back knee down. And then a nice, generous hello with this one. Inquire of your body, your tissues, your bones, which way you want to take me. Okay, maybe you want to do a little press and a twist. Maybe you're really enjoying that pulling back feeling of lengthening the front leg. All good. You've got a half a minute or so to just give it a nice, generous hello. And start to pull that right knee back so you end up back on hands and knees. Here's another, just for a moment, a little watch me moment. From hands and knees, I'm going to shift the pelvis forward so it's more like a half push-up. Bend the elbows halfway. Now watch as I push up, right knee to nose. And as I push down again, right leg stretches back. Bend elbows. It's floating. Give that a shot. So hands and knees. Pelvis forward, so you've got a flat line from your knees all the way to your crown. It's a nice diagonal line. And then bend the elbows about halfway-ish. As you straighten them, right knee comes into nose and you round. As you bend them again, send the right leg flying back behind you. Shoot it straight back. 2 more times. Bend, pull in, or straighten, pull in. Bend elbows, stretch the leg out. One more time, straighten the arms, pull the knee in. Bend elbow, stretch the leg out. Come all the way down to your belly. Drop both legs to the floor. Wiggle your butt out a little bit. So you're on your belly. You're going to take your right arm, walk it out to the side. Stay on your fingertips. Bring your left hand beside your chest, almost like you're getting ready to do a chaturanga, but we're not gonna. We're gonna work on some shoulder mobility. You can relax your legs. So the main thing here is this right shoulder. You don't want it to sink down, but you want to really lift it up and away from the ground. Keep that right shoulder super lifted. Okay, and then you're gonna start turning your head towards the left. And you might start to roll onto your right side, just the legs stacked, left leg on top of right. See how that feels? If it's too much, take care of yourself. You can roll back onto your belly. Okay, but you can play with this. Lift the right shoulder. Look to the left. If you want more, you walk the right hand further away. Lift the shoulder more, and maybe you even roll towards your butt. You're in charge here. But pressing into that left hand and lifting that right shoulder are what adds the load here to make this really, really healthy for your shoulder. We'll take one more breath. And then come on back. We'll do all that on the other side. Press up to all fours. Tuck your toes. You're walking it all the way back to a standing forward bend at the back of your space. Shake, hang, bounce, dangle. Breath if you need it. And then roll up softly, bone by bone, to standing. As you come to standing, we crumple to the left first. So big inhale, and then on your exhale, just we'll fall apart. Let your head go. And then build it back up tall again. And then when you're ready, you crumple over to the right. Come back up, stack bone over bone, clasp your hands behind you, other knuckle on top. Charge the hands back, lift the heart up, bend your knees, bend your knees. And then pour your way out like molten liquid lava. Pour over your legs, shake it out a little bit. Drop the hands. Plank, walk your hands out, come to plank and stay. You got it. And then from plank, ride it back into down dog. Big lift of the hips. So left foot this time is going to step all the way up through the hands. Do whatever it takes to get it there. Many steps as you need. And then we say hello and just move some parts around here. Back knee comes down. You can go forward and back with the hips. You can swing them a little side to side. Playtime, no rules. We have enough rules in our life. Coming to settle in that lunge position where you can hook your thumbs as you lift your torso up, taking the arms up, bright, shimmery. Tuck the back toes, come up to your high lunge. And then we get ready for that sweet, sweet waterfall-like pose. Drop the back heel down, clasp the hands behind you, keep switching up the grip. Heart flies up and then it dives. You just surrender totally down as far as your body's willing to let you go without forcing, organic. Beautiful. You're gonna fly up and open all the way into that triumphant reverse triangle. So come up, straight legs. Let your arms sweep through the sky. And with your straight legs, you're side bending. Maybe you draw that right side of the rib cage back. The left side, which side are we on? You have your left leg forward, don't you? Yeah. And then from there, we turn that one into a full side bend. So bring all your toes to face the long side of your space. Keep side bending. And then let it just melt all the way down into a wide-legged forward fold. Little different this time. So as you walk out, we'll come back to that wide-legged downward dog. And then wide-legged plank, but instead of the forearms down, do this. Take your right leg, shoot it underneath your left arm over to the side, and see if you can pick up your left arm. And you're trying to keep straight legs as you turn your body towards the ceiling. You might even flex your feet and lift your toes up and try to turn as much of your belly, chest, heart, hips towards the sky as you can. And then we'll come back to that wide plank. So left hand down. Pull the right leg under and through, back to wide legs. And then the left leg comes under it, shoots across. Right arm picks up. Do your best with it. Try to turn yourself open. Maybe you've got straight legs. Maybe the heels dig in, the toes pull back, and you sort of lay yourself across the sky here. And then come on slowly back. Wide legs again. Pull that left foot out. Walk your hands back all the way between your feet, wide-legged fold. Any version, if you're a headstand person and you feel called to do that, you might take a headstand. You might hold your elbows. You might, if you have a block nearby, really nice in this one to put your head on a block or two blocks. Good work. I love that. Use all the furniture as props. Perfect. Good. Fall over many times and just keep getting back up. So go ahead and start to come on back, and you're going to walk it around towards your left foot. And we're welcoming ourselves into a generous lizard position here. So bending that back knee, putting it down on the floor. And then just like the other one, you're choosing your own adventure. You might twist. You might bring elbows down. You might straighten that leg if that's what you're feeling more called to. And just slide that left knee back to meet the right knee, coming to all fours. And then from all fours, let your pelvis point down and shift forward so you come to a half push-up. Bend your elbows as you straighten them, left knee to nose, round your back. As you bend them, shoot the legs straight back and hover it. Keep going like that. Bend, curl in. Straighten, bend elbows. One more time. And this time, as you stretch your leg back, let your whole body settle down on the floor. Okay. This time it's going to be left hand walks away to the side, fingers down, shoulder up, right palm next to you. Okay, and starting just by looking to the right and lifting that left shoulder away from the ground. Maybe that's enough. Or you can start to roll onto your left side, stack the legs. Keep lifting that left shoulder, pressing into the right hand. You could walk the left hand further away. You can even walk it further up. That changes things, or down. It's playing with it, but keep the shoulder really lifted as much as you can. Maybe you try to roll more towards your butt. And then bring it back. Hands under shoulders, press up to your knees. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back and forth a little bit between a camel and a squat. It doesn't have to be the biggest, most, giant, earth-shattering camel you've ever done. Tuck your toes under. We'll do it that way. And you could hold on to your heels. And any amount that you're able to, you're lifting your pelvis up and then broadening across the collarbones. Maybe the head goes back. So as you come down to sit back on the heels, we're just sort of like a light kiss to the camel, not a big, full, deep makeout session. Take your hands to your heart. Just let the fingers interlace over your heart and see if you can pick your knees up to come back to a squat. If you need your hands, use them. Take your hands, interlace them, press them out, and then try to bring them up alongside your ears. Whew. Bring them back in front of you. We'll do all that in reverse. Bring the interlaced hands in towards your heart. You can use your hands if you need them. Otherwise, you're just going without the hands back towards a camel, trying to go slowly. If there's a big plunk, don't worry about it. Hands on the heels, and up you go. 2 more times like that. Explore on your own. You know, you could go faster or slower. Anything else is calling you, you could play with other movements within that or omit any part of it. Do that one more time. This time, the next time, so go through the whole thing. But when you get to the camel on the way back, let's stay with that for a little bit longer this time. So give it a good 5 breaths or so. Camel. If you need to come out at any point, come out. If you're just getting in, great. All good. When you do come down from the camel, you can uncurl the toes to sit on your feet. Just rest your palms on your thighs. Feel the afterglow of a back bend. But, And just shift your hips off to one side, bring the legs around in front of you. It's really nice after a lot of back bending to sort of integrate and bring things back together. So what you can do is just bend your knees, lift your feet up off the floor, hold underneath your legs like a supported boat. And the knees might stay bent or they could lengthen. Arms could stay here, they could reach forward, or the hardest option would be to bring them alongside your ears, and you're trying to create a hollow front body. So try to let your whole, imagine this like a diamond shape here from the bottom of the sternum to the bottom side ribs down to the pelvis, and try to just let that melt towards your low back. And then we're going to try to rock here a little bit, just rock back and rock up. We're trying to keep that hollow body as you do that. And if you're doing it here, right, you're doing it here, but the main thing is that's all just in and down, just for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then come all the way up to sit. Stretch your 2 legs straight out in front of you. Bend your right knee, step on your right foot, and then drop the right knee down and open to the side. And then we're going to refine it a little bit. Hold on to that right leg. You can hold the top of the foot and the front of the knee. That works best for me, or maybe the shin. And then just pick it up a little bit and pull it back. And we'll do that one more time. So you're going to pick up that leg just a little bit. And just try to move the knee back in space, pointing your right foot towards the top of your left thigh. And then get 2 hands behind you to just a teeny little pickup of the pelvis, and try to scooch it closer towards your right heel. And then set it down, flex your left foot, turn your whole body in the direction of the left foot, and start to walk your way out over that long leg. Keep reaching energy back down into that right leg, right knee down. And sometimes when we do it very refined like this, Sometimes you don't go as far as if you do in just a regular kind of tree leg setup, and that's okay. One more breath here, and then go ahead and pick yourself all the way back up. As you come up, you can bring that right knee back in, step on the right foot, bring the right hand behind you and take a twist, either hug or hook. But if you're hooking, be mindful that this doesn't happen, because I know we're all so super strong, especially after those push-ups. But leg into the arm just as much as arm into the leg. And then just, in a twist, we do tend to get a little sharp sometimes or a little pushy. So maybe you just dial it back like 5%. Come on back through center. Change out the legs, right leg long. Pull the left knee in, step on the foot, and then drop it open. And then you're holding that leg and moving it back. And then just one more time. It's just a little nudge, like a little further back if you can. Point the foot towards your left thigh. Hands behind you. Do any amount of a little scooch forward of the pelvis. And then settle. Flex the right foot, turn towards it. And whatever you got left over here, you walk it out. Bow the head, soften the face. What's working now that doesn't need to be working? What's been forgotten, perhaps? Anything that needs to be brighter? Good. As you come on up from there, you can lift up that left knee again, step on the foot, and then take a twist that fits your body, whether it's a little softer or whether it's a little more dramatic, but still has some tenderness to it. It hasn't lost its sweetness. I know. Come on back. Stretch out your legs. So I have two options for you for the ending here. If you want something a little more soft, a little quieter, you take a long leg forward fold, Paschimottanasana. You could pile up blankets under your knees or sit on things to make it more sustainable. If you want a little more movement, here's an offering, is to roll back into a plow. Take the arms with you, hang out there for a bit, and then roll down and right up, bending one knee. Other leg stretches straight out, right up into a little counter pose, like a baby stargazer. And back down, and then back through plow. And you could do that 2 or 3 times on each side. So you choose. You could do them both. You could do a plow, and then roll up, and then a Paschimottanasana, long-legged fold. Or you could just, make it up as you go along. And if you are doing that, lots of movement, even it out. So when you've done an even number, take one last plow. If you're still in the Paschimo, you stay in the Paschimo. But if you're taking that plow, you could stay there. You could bring your arms around. Maybe even bend your knees down by your ears. And just whatever amount of coiling up like a little snail shell that you're able to do here. So start to slow it down wherever you're at. If you're in that plow hanging out like a little snail. You could stay another breath or two and then drip it down. As you drip down, you just check in. If you were in the straight seated forward fold, you could roll up and down onto your back. So asking your body, listening to it, putting your ear down next to your body and listening, what does it need right now? Does it need any other shapes to feel neutral, feel free? Does it need support, pillows, extra clothing, lights off, anything of that nature? Yeah, does it need a wall to throw the legs up or a couch to wrap your legs over? You could start to settle in for your Shavasana. We've got time here. We're not in a rush. So do a body scan and just check in. You can move from feet to head. You can move from skin down to bone. And just try kind of field by field of you, landscape by landscape. Try to let whole big swaths of you rest more deeply, muscles falling off bone. Please do feel free to stay longer if you like. Choose to come on out. You could blink your eyes and rock your head. Feel the little electromagnetic energy of your fingers and toes start to wake up. You might hug your knees in or roll off to the side. As you come up, you might place your hands atop your heart again. Just give it that last little soothing warmth and heaviness of your hands. Breathe into your whole heart. We can finish with Om, breathing in together. Om. friends.